Hello, everyone, and welcome to Focus Series podcast channel by AUA Media Lab. My name is Naira Campbell-Kyureghyan, and I am former Judson King Professor and visiting professor now at AUA. Today, I have a pleasure to talk to one of the American entrepreneurs and CEO and senior partner of the Tech Wildcatters venture capital firm out of Dallas, Texas, Ricky Tejapaibul. Ricky, welcome to our podcast.
Naira, thank you for inviting me to the podcast and also for the wonderful hospitality throughout this whole week that we're in Armenia. So appreciate that and so happy that we made the trip up here.
I'm glad to have you here today. So my first question will be very trivial. What brought you to Armenia?
So as a venture capital firm headquartered in the U.S., but with an international mindset, we always try to look for different places in the world where we can go discover, find founders that are talented. Could be founders, could be tech talent that are looking to grow and expand their companies and could be entering the U.S. market or entering some of the other markets we can help them with, such as Southeast Asia, Middle East, and we've identified Armenia as one of the markets that we want to explore more. And also one of the reasons that my colleague in our team, Alexa Bagamian, her family is Armenian, and I've heard good things about Armenia. So, okay, let's try to make a trip out here. Let's try to explore more, build relationships, and try to see if we can help founders from Armenia go global.
Well, I hope you're enjoying your trip so far, and we'll come back one day here.
Yes.
Armenia is beautiful. And can you share your journey into VC and venture capital and tell a little bit about Tech Wildcatters, because not many people in Armenia know about you here.
Yes. I'll start with my personal journey. So I was born in Thailand, grew up half in Thailand, half in the U.S. And I always have this passion on the investment side. So I've been helping my family with their investments since I was a teenager. And then first started with the public markets. You can buy or sell securities, but you're not really adding value to the companies. You're just moving money around. So with that, and I also went on to work in management consulting, investment banking, in Fortune 500 capital market side. And then I felt that I wanted to do something that can also help the founders, help the companies. So then I started doing angel investing. And after doing angel investing, which is a rewarding experience that you provide small amount of capital, personal capital, but also helping the founders with mentorship, with advice, with introductions. But then after doing a number of investments, I felt that doing as an angel investor is not scalable. It's something that if I really wanted to do this, I have to do this full-time as a venture capital firm. So then after I decided to leave my last corporate job, I was at the Motorola, then I spent some time in Silicon Valley and also decided to move to Dallas. That in Texas, the economy is growing. It's a friendly place to do business. So I moved there and then got connected with Tech Wildcatters. That was in 2016. So Tech Wildcatters actually started in 2009 as a startup accelerator. Back then, there weren't many resources for entrepreneurs. So we were one of the first 10 or 15 accelerators in the world. And then our founder, Gabriela Drainey, she wanted to start a startup. Her mentor said you have to move out to Silicon Valley. She realized that it was a problem not only for her, but for other entrepreneurs as well in Dallas. And Dallas, it's a big ecosystem. It's a big market, great for corporates, great for B2B, but for startups, there was a gap there. So she got together with some of the partners, John Reed, John Feld, Brad Taylor, and then started Tech Wildcatters. So we focus on the B2B side because there's a lot of the Fortune 500s, and then there's the supplies that feed to that. So it was a great market to start. So after running a number of accelerator programs, which is a 12-week program, 12-week cohort, and we raised the small funds that invest in the accelerators. As the companies that come out of the program did so well, they got on to raise their Series A, Series B, Series C, and so on. What we realized is that as a small fund, we were not able to do follow-ons from that fund, and it limited our upside. That in venture capital, you want to be able to continue and reinvest in the companies that do well, especially if you know that they do well, you know the founders that you want to be able to invest. So with that, then our model right now is we're looking to grow into a multi-stage VC fund that's backed by institutions that can do pre-seed or accelerator and then seed and up to Series A. So I took over. I joined 2016, 2017. The previous partners, they ran it for 8 years. It's a grueling business. It's a lot, takes a lot of energy. So they wanted to move on to some less stressful things in life. So I took over as the managing partner in 2017 with this mindset of we have to build our firm as an institutional grade, and also with the international mindset that we have to be more proactive. So even previously, we had founders from other countries come to our cohort because they wanted to enter the U.S. market. But I feel we need to be more proactive. So that's why we went out to some different regions of the world: Southeast Asia, Middle East, Northern Europe, and also some unique markets like Armenia or somewhere that we feel that there's this disproportionate, there's a lot of talent, a lot of opportunities, but also there's a gap that how do we help founders from there scale and enter the larger markets, whether it be access to capital, access to customer, or through mentorship.
Thank you. So you mentioned that something about international investors. So my question would be like, what countries do you invest as a venture capital firm, and which companies do you invest, foreign companies, and which investors, international, invest into your startups?
Yes, so we're headquartered in Dallas, Texas, in the U.S. Most of our investors that back our firm are still U.S.-based, so most of our focus is centric around the U.S., but our definition of the model is that it could be founders that started from the U.S., but we look for those that have a mindset of you're going to take your company global, because some investor may feel that the U.S. is large enough, don't even think about global until a very long time. We tell them you don't have to wait until you're a unicorn. You can, from early on, if you identify, because there could be opportunistic market in some parts of the world, could be based on demand, based on regulatory, based on pricing, based on whatever reason, that if it's an opportunistic market, we can help the companies enter those markets. So that's from U.S. going abroad. And then from outside of the U.S., then if you're building a product that's not hyper-local, something that's usually tech-driven and something that can be applicable to other parts of the world, then oftentimes U.S. is the larger market. There could also be other large markets. So Asia is a large market, Europe's a large market. So how can we help founders there that they can start in a relatively small country, like could be Armenia, could be there's some other examples as well, like Estonia. There's some countries that you see a lot of success stories come out of those countries, and it's a combination of many things. Could be from the tech talent there, just somehow the STEM education system, it's effective, and also the regulatory, and how founders there can have access to the right guidance, right mentorship in some other countries that can help with expansion. So we want to be able to help add to that resource, that how can we help companies that grow. So it's about finding the right investors that have that mindset, have the right risk return appetite, that we want to go international, but also how do we add value to the company so the journey of going cross-border is not going to be as risky as if you go in without the right guidance.
Very interesting. So this is your first visit to Armenia.
Yes.
I'm curious kind of to hear your initial thoughts on the country's innovation, entrepreneurship landscape, and what stood out to you most in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship in Armenia so far?
Yeah. So before even innovation, before just landing the country, just the hospitality of the people here, I think that goes a long way of a place that's welcoming, that makes me want to come back. It's not the same with every place. So with that, and then linking to innovation, I feel so we get to visit your AUA, get to talk to some of the student founders here, some of the professors, and also get to visit some of the AUA alumni at companies like CRISP, like PixArt, that we see a lot of tech talent that comes out of the universities here in Armenia, and also ability to be able to build a team that can actually do world-class R&D, world-class innovation at scale. Because to build, let's say, something AI-driven or something that you need an R&D team of 50 people, 100 people, that you need to have a pretty deep ecosystem of talent, that whether it be homegrown talent, and also be able to attract talent from other countries as well to come in and join a team, but be able to do it at scale and able to, because you're competing with the global players in the world, and by able to do that and operate and feed with the teams that have teams in multiple continents, and oftentimes the team that's on the sales side, the going to market side, might be on the ground in those countries, but then they have to have a good communication that works well with the R&D team, wherever they are. So by having this effective team in Armenia, I think that goes a long way.
So interesting, effective team.
Yes.
And did you find any companies that you visited or any startups that you met that they have adequate teams?
Oh, so the ones that have already grown and scaled, like PixArt and CRISPR, the two ones that I visited. So I think those two, the team here, I think looks phenomenal. Like that, able to operate on par with the companies out in Silicon Valley or out in the some of the more expensive ecosystems. So that's already an advantage as an investor looking at companies. If we can do R&D at a much more cost-effective and a more efficient manner, then it goes a long way. You can, with the same amount of capital, be able to build more products, build more deeper AI, or build more different things. So I think from that, and then from the startup companies, also from talking to the founders here, we met with a few entrepreneurs, and their background, their mindset is already technically driven from the beginning, and they do also have industry experience. That's why they identified the problem, but they're looking at it from a technical perspective. So I think that certainly helps with that mindset. And then among the founders, then they'll divide up, okay, who's leading the product side, who's leading the customer development side, all that. But by having most of the team that's already have that technical background, I think already provides an edge.
Thank you. So Armenia has a very small market. It's just very limited. And when somebody starts a company, they probably understand that. It's very different mindset from those entrepreneurs or founders in larger countries like United States, for example. So what guidance would you offer to our innovators or people who want to start a company? And my other side of the question is, how is this going to help our country's economy if they will always tend to go to larger markets?
Yes. So I think from the first question, so I like to look at this world at a global scale, that especially in digital, in technology and startups, that their borders are not really borders. So you're competing not only with somebody in your home market, your next door neighbor, but at a global level. At least as you look to scale the company, it has to be that. So having that mindset from day one, that you're looking to build a product company that's applicable, that you can compete at the global level, at any level, against competitors or entrepreneurs from could be from the US, could be from Europe, from Asia, from Middle East, from other places, that then it puts you at that your bar is much higher, that you have to build your team at that. And then you can start with your co-founding team, your early employees from your home country, speaking your home language. But as you continue to build your team, then you cannot deny that you need to integrate teams that are from other countries, speak different languages. So most companies will use English as their language in the company. So from the companies we visit here, also same thing, that okay, if the whole entire team is Armenian, you could have a meeting in Armenian, but everybody's ready to switch to English right away, because even you have one team member from another country, that then and they said that all the emails are written, communications all in English. So basically you build your company culture in order to grow and scale. So with that mindset, and then you also need to have access to customers, access to capital at the level that companies from the larger countries have access to. You have to be able to compete at that level. And then to the second question, from a country standpoint, from a government standpoint, I think it's as the company grows, then you would expand to the U.S., you expand to other countries. But most of the time, like the two companies that I visited, they still have a substantial part of R&D here. So it's not that by growing or by moving your HQ or by having the founders have to relocate to another country, it doesn't mean that you're leaving your entire footprint, taking it away. So you still have a substantial, especially if there's some angle that there's competitive advantage of strength, and on the technical side, sure the consumer market may not be large, but the tech talent is rich enough to maintain or build a strong R&D team here. So I think that as it keeps continuing growing, or I think somebody was mentioning that Armenia is like the Silicon Valley of this part of the world. So yeah, something like that I think continues to differentiate. And also as you continue to build and grow, then it also attracts foreign investments from other countries, or you see some of the large tech companies may also set up office here to build R&D, and then they also bring in talent from other countries in as well. So as you continue to create that innovation mindset, and I think it's a fluid global world that's going on.
Thank you. So my point is also, my thoughts are, when startups have smaller market, when you start, you have an idea and you want to start your business, you're working in smaller markets, you probably depend a lot on quality and delivery, because that spreads by word of mouth. And in a smaller markets, it's easier approach to have the quality. If you have a good quality, you establish your name basically by that. While in larger markets, there are different strategies that companies take. So I found that in Armenia, actually, many Armenian entrepreneurs and startup companies actually understand that approach. And this is very unique. I also find that word of mouth spreads in Armenia very quickly. We joke about ourselves that it's by gossips. So it's a kind of advantage. Microclimate here for entrepreneurship is a little bit different and unique, because I also, I traveled many countries and met many entrepreneurs in my life, but I never seen such a culture where, they love their own products and their own kind of made in Armenia, this stuff. So in any case, I will move to next question. It's more, how do you see in general the VC landscape evolving, and how do you see the role of VC in the future, changing in the future?
Yes, so I think there's more VC firms that are entering the market, and the firms may specialize in different things. It could be by industry, it could also be by stage, by what type of founders, what type of geography or investment thesis. So I think it's about finding the right type of VC, right firm that gets along, understands the founder's vision, and works well together. Because like for us, we always say that if we invest in someone, we know that it's going to be a multi-year process. So we don't want to look at it as a one-time transactional interaction, but is it somebody that we can work with in the long term? So oftentimes we even want to get to know the founders, build a 6 to 12-month relationship with the founders, track their progress. We can give them advice they can choose to follow or not follow for whatever reason, but we want to see how they interact with us, and is it somebody that our vision is aligned for going forward. So I think you start to see more different type of VC firms, and VCs also have to innovate as well, because there's a lot of competition out there, and VCs, similar to startups raising money, VCs also have to raise money from limited partners to invest in the fund, and that also looks at, so how do you differentiate, what's your track record, and things like that. So we see that there's always a need to innovate, otherwise you fall behind. So I think that's on the VC landscape.
So the market basically is getting more and more saturated by VCs. I mean, especially probably in the United States, there's many VCs that in comparison to 2009 or 14, correct?
Yes.
Today we have tremendous number of venture capital firms.
Yes, there's a lot more firms, but also the approach is also going to be very different. So if you find a firm that aligns with you, then great. But then there's also firms that may specialize or be able to do many different things. So you want to see that which VC firm that's a good fit for you. But in order to increase your chances of finding that, then you have to be able to access the market. So how do you get in front of the right VCs, and whether it be, are they coming here to Armenia, or how can you, by introduction, get access to VCs firms in other countries that have interest in what you're doing, or you have an interest in going into those markets?
Thank you. So if HVC kind of has a set of portfolios, can you tell me a little bit about the portfolios that you have at Tech Wildcatters?
Yes. So for us, we built our portfolio mainly based on the B2B side, which we see as our strength, and also strength of being headquartered in Dallas, headquartered in Texas. We do also have some B2B2C or some other companies as well. But what we like about these founders is that we get to work with the founders early on and build a company that's resilient. And not all of our portfolio companies are in the profile that we like the most. But what we like is the companies that can be efficient with capital. So they don't need to raise a lot of money early on in order to show that the product works, there's product market fit, and try to get to that cash flow neutral, cash flow positive. And then if they see an opportunity, if some investor wants to invest, then they can look at it from a position of strength, rather than some companies that if they need to spend a lot of money early on, then once they run out of money, then they need to go raise additional capital, and it puts them in a difficult situation. And that's why the B2C side sometimes it's trickier, because a lot of times you have to spend a lot of money in order to acquire market share or educate customers. So we try to work carefully that is this a path that the probability of success is high enough that okay, what does an investment in this round gets us to? Does it get us to the next investment round? What are the metrics that the next round of investors will be looking at?
So from the perspective of a size of the company, early stage or industry, what areas do you fund usually or don't fund?
So
biotech, for example, is big. Robotics is big. Healthcare, or any of those, and at what stage? Pre-seed, seed?
Yes, so we could do pre-seed, seed up to Series A, and we like seed or pre-seed because it allows us to work with founders as early as they come in. We're not a fan of some funds will say, tell the founders, come back when you have a certain number of customers or a number of revenue, and we feel that approach will miss out on a lot of founders. So that's why we want to be able to work from the very early on. But then our approach is, how do we train the founders to be capital efficient, or look at models that are more capital efficient? So that's why we prefer software over hardware, or some industries that you mentioned, like biotech, usually is quite tough because it's capital intensive. So it has to be something that we really understand, or we really see a conviction of a path to get to the next milestone for additional funding. Or hardware, same thing, that we don't say no completely to hardware, but hardware, the name of the game is how do you get to that volume of scale? So how do you prove that, and then how can you raise capital to be able to fund that expansion to get to that point? So we try to look at it from that. And then from an industry vertical standpoint, we don't want to limit ourselves to only one or two verticals. There's a few themes that we feel are going to perform strongly over the next 3 to 5 years. I think on the e-commerce side, I think there's still a lot going on, whether it be fintech, whether it be shipping logistics, and then on the sustainability side, there's food security. I think it's something that's still undervalued when you talk about agriculture and in that sense, or it could be water, it could be other resources, or even energy. I think that side, education, we like. And then on the more lifestyle theme, I think mental health is something that's been an issue for pretty much anywhere in the world. There's always something that the level of stress that people are dealing with these days, that I think mental health is a strong sector with like gaming, esports, or sports, travel, hospitality, some of the areas where that we feel that there's still room, or even some of the old inefficient industries. Sometimes, so we could go deep tech AI if we see a strong founder, a strong business model, but I think there's still some of the lower hanging fruit in terms of some old inefficient industries that for example, procurement used to be done with stacks of paper. You have to submit bids and things like that. That by able to digitize them, be able to automate them, then you're solving a lot of these pain points. But so sometimes it may not be driven by only on the tech side, but on the user experience side. How can you get people who've done things a certain way for decades? How can we get them to adapt and then convince them that using tech will help them, will not hurt them? We're not taking away their jobs, but how are we making them more effective, more efficient, and then able to do more things or do better at their jobs?
Thank you, Ricky. It's interesting. So out of many industries that are valued today based on global problems, like obesity or longevity, people want to live longer, healthier.
Yes.
For example, education that did not change for centuries. Can you think of any industries today that are undervalued?
Undervalued.
They will be very important, but they're undervalued today.
Yes. So I think I touched on it a little bit on. So I think on the agriculture, food security, I think that's still undervalued. I think logistics. I think there's a lot of opportunities that can be more efficient. That by be able to transfer resources around in the world. I think that there's still a lot of inefficiencies. The use of world natural resources. I think a lot of this can be optimized, and there's still a room there. So I think there's that. I think on the education side, education may not feel like the most exciting industry, but I think education is what shapes people, and then people will go and can continue to do other great things. And there's always a need at every level, whether it be from parents, whether it be from government, from students. So I think education, I think that's undervalued. And then you have mental health, sports. I think some of these things that I think there's still room.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about AUA. And yes. So AUA is becoming, took basically a turn to become a research university. And many great scientists, innovators, designers, composers, professors from humanities, business, health sciences, and engineering, actually working on very important topics, and they produce research. Part of that research is actually so innovative that it can be, we usually evaluate it from perspective of intellectual property for some sort of like copyright, trademark, or of course patent. And traditionally in Armenia, it is not a mindset that universities can produce patents, because none of the institutions in Armenia had established functional, policy-based kind of departments to help faculty. So over the past year, AUA became the first institution that established such a functional, policy-based Office of Tech Transfer in Armenia to help our researchers. What opportunities from your point of view, does it open for the investors? Like, do investors value scientific discoveries that are IP-based?
Yes. So I think from an investor, when we look at companies or a business model, then we want to see, are they able to build a moat? How do they protect themselves from competitors entering the space? And there are certain things that, say, software may be hard to patent, but a lot of inventions that can be patented. And if it can be patented, then the question is, so have you already filed a patent? What countries do the patents cover? And if not, then what's holding you back, or what is your patent strategy? So I think that's something that a lot of investors look at. And by having a patent system that there's, okay, you start filing at your home country, and then you file the PCT and you file abroad. I think by having a system like that you can tell the founders that all right, this is how you can efficiently build an IP portfolio while it's not cheap, but you can also build it that it's not going to be incredibly expensive. That, okay, these are the key patents, these are the key countries. At least start from there, or at least educate them that what needs to be protected with patents, what would be trademarks, what would be trade secrets, and have that mindset and approach. And a lot of times it's led by the universities, because universities by design researching and then building an IP portfolio. And not only here, but many top research universities, they have, as you continue to build a patent or IP portfolio, then you want to have those technologies be able to commercialize. So then the tech transfer side on, okay, how do you people even know about, that could be investors, could be founders, that oh, maybe this university has a technology they can try to license from, or something that just get the word out there that there's great technology and research collaboration and labs or things like that a university can be one of the driving forces, along with the startup sector, the private sector as well, and then the government, and as you continue to grow as an ecosystem.
Thank you, Ricky. This is a very important establishment that happened over the past year, and I wanted to make sure I wanted your point of view as an investor to see a value, almost like into value to credited, credited idea.
Yes.
So basically, the startup started from innovative and novel idea that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. But of course, a lot depends on a team, again, on resources and the field, of course, market needs, etc. So with that, I want to take a moment and thank you for, first of all, coming to Armenia, coming to AUA. I hope you liked our institution, and also for spending this half an hour with me chatting about innovation and entrepreneurship. Thank you, Ricky.
Yeah, so thank you. The pleasure's mine. And just from day one until towards the setting up all these meetings, introductions, and until the very last day, I think I learned a lot about Armenia. And then as we go back and then we'll do our homework, we'll dig deeper into some of the startups, and then try to build the bits and pieces that, okay, these are the strengths of what Armenia has. What are the gaps? What are the areas that we can do to help to fill in those gaps? And after that, then I always look forward to continue dialogue and see what we can help AUA, maybe with the students, with the founders, with the tech transfers that comes out, that how can we help spread the word or make the right introductions of people who are interested and share the vision can come in and help fill those needs. So yeah, I think we're excited and looking forward to whenever the time comes for the next trip to come back out here.
Thank you.